Hey guys, Political Junkie 2414 here, and welcome back to my next video. This is the continuation of my August, of my 2022 Wednesday primary reviews. Last night we had primaries in Alaska and Wyoming, and we're going to be making a little short, well, a much shorter video than last time talking about them today. So, of course, yesterday I made a video about the upcoming primaries in Wyoming. I officially endorsed Liz Cheney and Lisa Murkowski. Yeah, we're gonna start off with Wyoming, and yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day. Remember to like, subscribe, and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss another video. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So, in Wyoming, as expected, Harriet Hageman defeated Liz Cheney. Cheney didn't even crack 30% of the vote. I made a video yesterday explaining why I thought that if Cheney was somehow able to pull this off, which was very unlikely, but if she somehow was, then it would be the end of Trump's future in the Republican Party. But Wyoming is a state that voted for Trump by 40 points. Biden did not even crack 30% of the vote in Wyoming. Trump almost got to 70. That really shows you how red the state is. You'd have to go all the way back to 1964 to find it blue when it went for Lyndon Johnson, or, Lyndon B. Johnson in 1964 against Barry Goldwater. Ever since then, very, very Republican state. In the 90s, it was a little bit closer because of Perot splitting the vote with Bush and Clinton, but since then it has moved back into being safe R. So yeah, I this is what I was expecting. I was hoping that, I would be wrong and that Cheney would be able to pull this out, but that was a long shot anyway. I think that Cheney is going to run for president. There were clearly a lot more Democratic votes in the Republican primary for House than there were you know, in the Democratic primary. And that's has to do with Cheney being able to convince Democrats in Wyoming to switch over party affiliation to her. So, this isn't the most unexpected result. Honestly, this is a much bigger victory for Hageman than I was expecting. But I'm not gonna say I'm very surprised because Liz Cheney has been, you know, outspoken against Trump, which, I like, and, I like her bravery and her bipartisanship and the fact that, I've seen some comments on my videos or a comment on my video, Cheney had voted with Trump 93% of the time, more than Paul Gosar did, and she, changed her mind after January 6th, which, she rightfully should have, and she did. She voted to impeach him, and then she loses in Wyoming. And of course, she knew she would lose, and, she made that pretty clear throughout her campaign. She was not even able to campaign safely in the state because, there was, the possibility of her being, assaulted, or, it was a safety precaution because, she couldn't campaign in the state safely. So, it's not a big surprise that Harriet Hageman won. This is not the end for Liz Cheney. I'm depressed about this, but not saying that it was completely unexpected. In the Democratic primary for the House seat, Lynn Gray Bull, I think is her name. I think she's a Native American, or a member of a Native American tribe in Wyoming. I think she ran against Cheney in 2020. But of course, Wyoming is a safe red state. Harriet Hageman will most likely be the next, Republican Congresswoman. The next Congresswoman from the state of Wyoming. And the governor primary, not a lot to watch. Mark Gordon did get a lot of challengers, but, as expected, he won pretty easily. And then the Secretary of State race, this one kind of got pushed under the rug. There was Chuck Gray here was the one who ended up winning this primary. He was originally running against Cheney, and he dropped out of the race and he switched over to the Secretary of State primary. He got Trump's endorsement, and the fact that Trump really needs to have a secure Secretary of State. I mean, every state should have a secure Secretary of State, but if there's one thing we know about Donald Trump, it's that he, does not care about safety, at least in my opinion, from what I have seen and what, is apparent to me. But, yeah. Anyways, Wyoming, Chuck Gray is the nominee for Secretary of State. There's no Democratic nominee, so he's going to probably win unanimously. He would have won anyways against a Democrat. And so, that's pretty much it for, the Wyoming primary results. The big race here was Liz Cheney's primary. She will go on to serve until January of 2023, and then she's out. But, she made an incredible speech last night. I knew that she wasn't gonna win, but I can't say I'm surprised by this, because but I am surprised by the margin. It was a long shot for her anyways, and at least she went down. At least she had the courage to do what was right and do, what she thought was right and what I think is right. But she had that courage. Not a lot of people have that, and she paid the political price for it. But that was a price she was willing to pay, and I have a great deal of respect for Liz Cheney because of that. So moving over to Alaska, a little bit of a better story for Lisa Murkowski, who was one of the 7 Republican senators who voted to convict Trump in his second impeachment trial. I was saying Murkowski's definitely going to advance to the general election. There was, very little chance of her getting out of the top 4. She's the incumbent, has been for 20 years. She did lose a primary in 2010 and then won against the Republican nominee in the general election as a write-in candidate. She has come in at first place. Kelly Shabaka will be advancing to the general election. She's endorsed by Trump, and this is going to be a really interesting race to watch. This race hasn't been updated for quite some time. Wow, it's been since 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning, but yeah, looks like Murkowski had, pretty good showing in Alaska, and not very surprised by this. For people that say, Murkowski is going to lose by a landslide, look at 2010. She won as a write-in candidate. She was more conservative back then, and Trump was not really, he was not the center figure, the centerpiece of the Republican Party, but she is still, despite Alaska being a state that voted for Trump by 10 points, it's a more traditionally Republican state, and you can see back in you know back before Trump, it was a lot more solid for Republicans. You know, Trump almost made it safe, but Hillary Clinton was not a good candidate for the state. Alaska's not really going to go blue that much. Realistically, anytime soon. Definitely not in 2024, unless there's a really bad GOP nominee for president like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Then I could see it going blue. Alaska, I think, is going to be a swing state in the future, but right now it's still a safe Republican state. It's only voted Democratic once, and that was in 1964. So yeah, Lisa Murkowski's doing pretty well. I don't really, I have a great deal of respect for her bipartisanship. I endorsed her, and I'm glad that she advanced to the general election. I think she's going to be all right, but that doesn't mean she shouldn't campaign. This is still a very competitive race, and it'll be interesting to see how this goes on. There's still a fourth opponent to be, or a fourth candidate to be decided. But yeah, Alaska's going to take a long time to count their primary results, so we might not get that for a while. This was another big race to watch between the House special election. So we had the primary results for the House. So we technically had 2 elections. So we had the special election. Oh, and also in the governor's race, Mike Dunleavy won or is advancing. Not a big surprise there. The Democrat Les Garia is 2, and Bill Walker actually got 3rd place, which surprises me. Maybe not such a great showing, but I don't think he's going to win this race. I think Mike Dunleavy will be reelected. So this is the special election results. Still haven't been a lot of results coming in here. This is the special election to replace Don Young, who died this March. The Democrat, actually, Mary Sattler Batola, is leading right now. This, is obviously because Sarah Palin is running for the House seat, and Nick Begich III is running as well, so there's a Republican split. Um, you know, this could send Patola to Congress for a couple of months, but I do think that she would lose in the general. I think Palin is a worse candidate for Republicans to put up. She does have the Trump endorsement, and she probably will be Alaska's next congresswoman. She will, probably come in. She may come in at 2nd place. If she comes in at 3rd, then she's probably Nick Begich will probably be the next congressman, but You never know. But in the primary results, it was a little bit different because they have a primary for, who advances to the actual general election and not just for the special election to fill it. So, these four advanced to the general election. I'm not sure exactly who Sweeney is, but, Nick Begich the third, who's I think he's the grandson of Nick Begich, the former Democratic congressman from the state that Young replaced in 1973, because Young was a congressman for almost 50 years in the state of Alaska. Palin came a lot closer in this primary. Patola is number one here. I honestly, this is a good showing for Democrats. It's another sign that Roe v. Wade has affected, has is boosting Democratic turnout. But honestly, Alaska is Alaska. It's still a red state, and I do expect them to elect a Republican this fall. I think Sarah Palin would be a much worse candidate. But but we'll just have to see what happens. This could be a very interesting race. We could see Alaska actually elect a Democratic congressman or a Democrat to Congress for the first time in 14 years. Because the last time that they elected any Democrat, and this was a one-time thing, was in 2008 when Mark Begich defeated Ted Stevens. He went on to lose. He's the only Democrat who's been representing Alaska who's represented Alaska in Congress since what's his name, Mike Gravel left in 1981 from the Senate. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the primary results. Pretty much a mixed night for Democrats and Republicans. Lisa Murkowski seems to be doing pretty well. Liz Cheney lost as expected. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share, turn on notifications. Check out my or what check out my I'm trying to think, should I say some more things about Liz Cheney and stuff. I'll talk a little bit more about it beforehand. With this does show that Trump still has a very strong grip on the Republican Party, but I think Liz Cheney will probably run for president. Her analogies in her speech last night were definitely something that caught my eye. And yeah, so I think that's a good chance. That's a good you know sign that she's going to run for president. I don't think she get the nomination against Trump. I think DeSantis is really the only threat to Trump right now, but Cheney could definitely also run as an independent and split the Republican vote with Trump, which would give Biden or whoever the Democrat is a victory in 2024 most likely. But yeah, I think that Cheney has said that she is willing to keep Donald Trump out of the White House at all costs. You know, and yeah, so that is actually the end. So yeah, of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share, turn on notifications. Check out my non-political channel, Interactor127, where I do video game walkthroughs and reaction videos. I'm gonna try to get back to that soon. I'm thinking about doing a YTP reaction with Groundland Zoo 666, but we'll have to see how that turns out. Hopefully, I'll be getting back to the video game walkthrough soon. I'm thinking about starting Ultimate Spider-Man. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out my comrade, Growling Zoo 666 on YouTube, as I've mentioned before. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time when I talk about all things politics. See ya.